Hello students, today we are going to discuss our next poem, The Shed, and the poet is Frank Flynn. Now do you know what a shed is? Have you seen a shed for a cow, or a shed for a car, or a shed in the field which protects the fodder, the grass, etc. from being drenched? Now, what is a shed actually? A cow shed, a tool shed, a wood shed, for example. It is a small room away from the main house. It could be enclosed sometimes and it could be uncovered sometimes. So sometimes it is like a room and sometimes it is just a covering on resting on the four pillars. So we are talking about a room which is there away from the house, which is called a shed, for storing or keeping things, animals, tools, vehicles, etc. Now, you can ask somebody what a shed is, and let us see what the poet has to say about his shed. Can you see in the picture that there is a small shed that is seen in one corner of the garden of our poet's house? You can see a window, you can see the door, the window panes are broken, and you can see that the door is also an old one. That means most of the people are not visiting, it has not been opened for a long time. Let us discuss if there is a shed like this in your home, what can be the feeling of the poet? Now the poet writes, there's a shed at the bottom of our garden. So somewhere a distance away from the main house, there is a shed which is there in one part of our garden, with a spider's web hanging across the door. Now the spider's hanging suggests that it has not been opened for a long time. It has not been taken care of, and it is a kind of neglected place. It is just acting as a storehouse. The hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. You know that the doors have the joints, the iron joints, and you also know that iron rusts, iron oxidizes, and that is known as rusting. So the poet is telling us that the hinges are rusty because it has not been taken care of and not been oiled and painted for a long time, so it is rusted, and creak in the wind, and whenever the wind blows it creates a creaking sound. That means the door is not tightly closed or is not intact enough, and it makes a sound whenever the wind blows. When I am in bed, I lie and I listen. And now the poet is talking about and is contemplating about night, when everything is silent, when the poet is sleeping in his room inside the house, he is able to listen something. I'll open that door one day. So he feels that some kind of sound is coming from this shed, and he decides that one day surely, when he will gather courage, he would go inside and check what is there. Today he is really fearful, he does not have enough courage to go there. But soon he would muster his courage and would go and check himself. The second stanza. There's a dusty old window around at the side. We can very well visualize that when there is such kind of a room or part of your building or a house or a shed here which is not taken care of, which is not cleaned properly, then obviously what do you expect? You expect dusty old window. it has not been cleaned for a long time, with three cracked panes of glass. And as you can see, there is a big window which has around four glass panes, and three of them have been cracked. Now these cracked glass panes also tells us and suggest that it has not been taken care of. It's a neglected part of the house. I often think there's someone staring at me. And what is the feeling of the poet? Whenever he goes and he passes by this shed, he is really afraid. He feels that somebody is gazing at him, peeping at him from inside. So the poet is filled with fear each time that I pass. So whenever I pass, I really feel somebody is there staring or gazing or looking continuously at me. So poet is really filled with fear. I'll peep through that window one day, but he still decides that one day he would be strong enough, he would be courageous enough, and he would surely peep inside, look inside through the small crevices or holes or cracked glass panes to see what is there inside or who is there inside. Stanza 3. My brother says there's a ghost in the shed. Now there is some other interpretation that is given by the poet's brother. What is the brother saying? That there is a ghost in the shed. We all know that ghosts never exist. So here I think that the brother is trying to scare him so that he doesn't gather courage and never goes to the shed. So there is a ghost in the shed. This is a story cooked up by the poet's brother, who hides under the rotten floorboards. And what is the story? That this ghost has hidden himself under the rotten. Rotten means something that has been damaged completely, under the floorboards. So the ghost is residing under the floor and the wooden boards are covering him. And if I'd ever dare to set foot inside, and what is the warning he is issuing? That if I ever dare to go inside or even step my foot inside, he will jump out and chop off my head. So this is a story cooked up by poet's brother, and it is a fake story. It is a false story. It is only to get his means done. So I think that he is actually scaring the poet so that he can enjoy this place all by himself, and the poet never interferes into his activities. But the poet is saying that I will take a peek one day. He is very optimistic that one day he would surely go inside and check it out himself. I know that there isn't really a ghost. Now gradually he is also growing up and he really feels rationally that there is no ghost inside. My brother tells lies to keep the shed for his den. And he is also able to understand the motive of his brother, that he is trying to scare me so that he can use this shed for his den, for a place he can do any kind of activities personally. There isn't anyone staring or making noises, and I'm very sure that there is nobody inside and there is nobody who is making noises. And the spider has been gone from his web. And yes, the spider web which was there blocking the entry of this door for a long time has also gone away. This does mean that the poet's brother had entered and he would have cleared off the web. So even the spider is not there, which is also acting as a hindrance, since I don't know when. So it has been a long time since the spider has also gone away. So all the hindrances are clear. Now he is rational, he is strong enough, and he is saying that I'll go into that shed one day, soon. So his determination is that he would enter this shed soon, but not just yet. But the last line says that still the time of entering the shed has not come. He is still a little fearful, and it would require some more time for him to gather courage and go inside and check all by himself. So this is what we know that we would have also felt when we are small. We are really scared of such places, maybe some houses, some places where nobody goes and visits, and so we are always scared and are curious to know who lives inside, and our always imagination is of a ghost, that it could be a ghost, the strange voices that is normally of the leaves and trees, etc., the branches and the twigs which are waving in the air, and we are able to imagine that it could be the ghost who is creating the noise. But the good thing is that he is optimistic, and he will soon he's mentally prepared, but still a little bit of courage is missing, which he would gather up soon, and soon he would be able to go and enter inside the shed. Assignment. Now read and revise this poem and try to frame the answers, and later I will also provide you with the answers. I hope you would have understood this poem very well. Please try to understand and try to prepare it.